Well, how the Roots Maneuver jam came about was, it was the actual song. Me and Fast were working one night, as we do, building tunes up, you know, layering, starting with the drums and the bass and the keyboards and little bits of guitar and samples sometimes, even though this record we didn't use as many as previous. We wanted to try and sample ourselves playing. That was the initial idea when we started writing this record, which we started doing in my hometown of Leicester. Fast came up. Huey was still living in New York at this time, but Fast was living over here, and we started in Leicester. We didn't really know what we were going to do. I remember the first night we kind of set everything up in a circle, put the computer and the recording equipment in the middle of all these instruments, and then we sat there for a few hours not really knowing what to do, but then we started making our moves, putting some things down, and one of the first jams we put down was Get Your Coat on that very first night, and that first jam has lasted, and it's on the new record, which was cool because in the same 25-30 minutes of that song coming to life, you know, 29 minutes previous, we didn't have a clue what we were going to do, so it's quite pleasing to know one of the first jams made it all the way through the process. But how the Roots Maneuver jam came about was, we were working in the studio, as we do. This was in London this time, and it was one of them periods where it wasn't going so well. We'd been in there from afternoon. It was about midnight, so we thought we'd wrap it up. I went to the bathroom, I came back, and you know where if you ever go in a room and you see a piano, you kind of run your fingers down the piano. And I walked back in the room, you know, as leery as anything, and ran my hand down the piano, and this amazing little melody line, which was not preempted or thought about. I just ran my fingers down, and that's what it was. And Fast, being the keyboard player, proper keyboard player, he turned around and he was, you know, what did you just do? And I said, I don't know, I think it was something like this, and I did it again. So we switched everything back on, and we persisted to build this track, which turned into Keep On Yelling. And as we started layering it and building it up more, we just thought, wow, this is a great kind of darkish hip-hop song. And previous, when we were writing the record in Leicester, it was a conversation that me and Fist had, where we were saying, you know, this record, we should get a couple of guest people, you know, we've not done it since B.B. King. So we thought it'd be a great idea, and seeing as how this was a hip-hop song, I suggested, what about Roots Maneuver? And it's somebody over the years that I'd been playing to Huey, I'd been playing to Fast, and Fast then found out he did dub versions of his records, so, you know, we'd rapidly become, you know, a fan of his music. Me, quite a few years before, I remember seeing him with Giles Peterson from Radio 1 out at Birmingham at the Custard Factory, and it was amazing. I think he's one of the best MCs out there. He's way up. You know, since my other two partners are from New York, the land of everybody, you know, KRS-One to Biggie Smalls, Run DMC, that's where it was born. But the guys, when I played Roots Maneuver, they know he's a philosopher of the language, and he's a great MC. So I asked him, I had his number, I rang him, he had to listen to the track, and he said yeah. So he came. I remember it was Fast and myself were in a little studio. Huey he had to go and film something in New York, so he couldn't be there. But I remember we were expecting him. I thought he might turn up with a load of boys and, you know, an entourage and a big Hummer and shit, but he just walked up the street with a pen and a piece of paper, and one of the nicest guys, pleasure to chill with him. You know, he had a pizza, we had a glass of scotch, we had a little blaze, and he got his pad out, wrote, it was pretty much there, and it's on the album, and it's one of our favourites. And when you get it in your cars, get it on your system, just turn the bass up and turn it up.